For OG today, we have 2 new red words. So here's what you're going to need. You need to get your sandpaper that we sent home with you. You also need your red word paper. That's the small sheet of paper. And you need a red crown. If you don't have a red crown, you can just use a pencil. I'm going to demonstrate the red word today on the board. Mrs. Hobson's video from the other day demonstrated how to put the sandpaper underneath your paper. So you can rewatch if you need some help with that. All right, so let's practice. Our first new red word is does. Listen to this word, does. This word is a little tricky because this OE is really making a sound, that U sound, but it's an OE. So that's the reason this is a red word. It's not a word that we're going to be able to sound out. So let's go ahead and put our sand underneath our paper. So paper on top, and use your red crown, and we're going to write the word does. Here we go. D. Remember, keep your D underneath that dotted line. O. Keep your O underneath that dotted line. E. E sets under the dotted line. S. Right? Does. If you have room and you need to practice again, you can write it a little faster this time. D. O. E. S. That's our red word, does. D-O-E-S spells our red word, does. Right? Go ahead and pick up your paper and we're going to practice tapping it. Here we go. Paper out so you can see it. Start at your shoulder. D-O-E-S, does. Again, D-O-E-S, does. And one more time. D-O-E-S, does. Very good. All right, now let's feel that word does. Set it back down on top of your sandpaper and let's use our finger to trace. Ready? Spell it with me. D-O-E-S, does. D-O-E-S, does. Last time. E-S, does. All right, let's go ahead and flip to the back. I won't make you put your sandpaper on top because I think it may hurt our finger a little bit. If you would like to set your sandpaper on top of your word and trace over it like we usually do with our screens, you're welcome to do that. All right, now we need to practice our writing. So here we go. Lines have gotten shorter. Ready? D-O-E-S, does. Again, D-O-E-S, does. One more time. D-O-E-S, does. Very good. And now we're going to move down to the sentence line. Change your red crown, or if you were writing with a pencil, you can just keep your pencil. And we are going to put this word does into a sentence. So my sentence is going to say, how does that work? Ooh, how does that work? That's a question. So I'm going to end my sentence with a question mark. And I also want to make sure I go back and use my red, or if you just have a pencil, you can use it to underline my red word does. How does that work? If you need some more time to finish up the sentence, you can go ahead and pause your video so you can finish that up. And we need to take care of our next word. So one more new sight word that we're going to practice, and that word is some. So let's look at this word some here. I think I flipped too far. That's okay. I'll write it up here. S-O-M-E. Let's just take a look at it. Some. Listen to the sounds. We hear that again, but notice this time the is really an O. So that's why we say this word some is a red word, and it's not a word that we can sound out. That's what makes it special. So we're going to practice writing it again. So again, get your second sheet of red word paper, grab your red crown, grab your sandpaper. Please put your paper on top of your sandpaper, and let's practice writing our word some. All right, S. Practice that S, sits below the line. O, sits below the dotted line. M, sits below that dotted line. E. Ooh, all these letters sit below that dotted line. If you had trouble keeping those letters below the dotted line, you may want to try a rewrite of that word some. S-O-M-E, some. S-O-M-E, some. Okay, go ahead and pick your paper up, and we're going to practice patting it. Remember, paper out in front of you so we can see the word that we're spelling. All right, starting at our shoulder, here we go. S-O-M-E, some. S-O-M-E, some. S-O-M-E, some. Very good. All right, set it back down on top of your sandpaper, and let's feel the word. Here we go. Use your pointer finger. S-O-M-E, some. Let's try it again. S-O-M-E, some. One last time. S-O-M-E, some. If you want to try to set your sandpaper on top, I know it'll block all your letters, but you can see if you can trace it without seeing it. If it hurts your finger, don't worry about it. All right, and next, we need to flip our paper over and practice on the smaller lines now. Since we're an expert at writing this word, here we go, some. Ready? Make sure you take that sandpaper out. Here we go. S-O-M-E, some. Take a look. Did you keep them all below the dotted line? All right, let's try it again. S-O-M-E, some. All right, and one more time. S-O-M-E, some. Very good. Right, change your red crown for your pencil, and let's put some in a sentence. How about the sentence, I want some ice cream. I want, there's my red word, some ice cream. That's a statement. So I'm going to end it with a period, and then I'm going to grab my red crown and underline my red word, some. All right, there are 2 Jack Hartman videos for you to watch, both on our 2 sight words, does and some. Keep practicing your sight words.